Okay, let's look at how to complete the square. When you're completing the square, you take a quadratic from its standard form here, ax squared plus bx plus c, and you need it in the form a by x plus h squared plus k, right? So there are some steps that you can follow to complete the square. The first thing, let's look at this example. The first thing is that if you need to complete the square, the coefficient of x squared has to be 1. In this case, it's already 1. So we could go ahead and complete the square, right? So the first thing you do, you take x, you take half of b, so half of what the coefficient of x is. So you take 3, because half of 6 is 3. Raise that to the power of 2. And then you minus that same half squared plus the constant 5. All right, and now you simplify. So this would be x plus 3 squared minus 3 squared is 9. So minus 9 plus 5. And this will give us x plus 3 squared minus 9 plus 5 is minus 4. So here, this is in the form a by x plus h squared plus k, where in this case a is 1, right? The coefficients of x squared. H is 3, half of b, and then k is minus 4. All right? And that's your completed square. Let's look at another example. So say I have x squared minus 4x plus 10, right? So I go ahead. The coefficient of x squared is 1 here, so I could go ahead and complete the square. So I take x, I take half of whatever b is, so half of 4, which is 2, and then I minus that same half of b squared, so I minus 2 squared. And then I just add that 10 back to the end. All right, and now let's simplify. So this part is already done. This x minus 2 squared, that's already done. I'm not doing anything there. But I'm going to simplify this part. So 2 squared is 4, right? And then finally, this would be x minus 2 squared minus 4 plus 10 is 6. So this is also in the form a by x plus h squared plus k. In this case, a is 1. It's the coefficient of x squared. H is negative 2. You need to take the sign of the number, right? So h is negative 2 here. And then k is 6. So far, so good. Now, in these two examples, the coefficients of x, b, they were even numbers. So like it was 6 in this one, and then it's 4 in this one. So when you divide it by 2, you'll get an integer or a whole number. But not all the time you would have where the coefficient of x, b, is an even number. Sometimes it could be an odd number, right? So let's look at an example like that. If we have x squared minus 3x, for instance, minus 7. The steps still remain the same. The coefficient of x squared is 1, so I could go ahead and complete the square. I take x, I take half of 3, which is, well, 3 over 2. 3 divided by 2 is a half of 3, all to be squared, and then I minus that 3 over 2 all to be squared. Bring down your minus 7. You're not doing anything with that as yet. And then you simplify. So this would be x minus 3 over 2 squared minus, well, 3 squared is 9 and 2 squared is 4. That's how you square a fraction, right? You would square the numerator and the denominator. So you get minus 9 over 4 minus 7. And then you, as I said before, this first part here in the brackets is already done. So now you just have to simplify this part, negative 9 over 4 minus 7, which is negative 9 and a quarter. Now you could write that as an improper fraction. You can write it as a decimal. You can write it however you want. 9 and a quarter is the same as 9.25 or 37 over 4, whatever, right? Same thing here. Same thing here. It could be 3 over 2 is 1.5 or it's 1.5, however you want to write it, right? So this is the completed square format. In this one, a is 1, the coefficient of x squared. H is negative 3 over 2 or negative 1.5 or negative 1.5, and K is negative 9 and a quarter or negative 9.25 or negative 37 over 4. And let's do one more example. So this one, x squared, we're going to use one where the coefficient of x is not even, so 11, right? Plus 40. The coefficient of x squared here is 1, so I could go ahead and complete the square. I take x, I take half of 11, which is 11 over 2, all to be squared, and then I minus that 11 over 2 all to be squared, and then bring down the plus 40. I'm not doing anything with that as yet. And then I simplify. So this would be x minus 11 over 2. Half of your job is done there. Minus, well, 11 squared is 121. 2 squared is 4 plus 40. I mean, you could work this out on your calculator. I did. I worked it out on the calculator. So 121 plus 121 over 4 plus 40. All right, so this would be x minus 11 over 2 squared plus 121 over 4 plus 40 is actually positive 9 and 3 quarters. Okay, so this is in your completed square format where a is 1. A is always going to be the coefficient of x squared, whatever that is, right? So a is 1. H is negative 11 over 2, and K is 9 and 3 quarters. So I hope this video helps you to recall the steps in completing the square. It's always the same steps once the coefficient of x squared is 1. I'm going to make another video where the coefficient of x squared is not 1. It's greater than 1, right? And it's the same steps, but there's just a few things that you have to do differently.